Welcome to Breaking Bread with Alie and Gabby. I'm Gabby Loren.
And I'm Alie Valerio.
And today we're bringing back Rabbi Yitz Jacobs. He is someone who is very experienced in the Jewish community as he went to Israel and studied for his rabbinical degree for 6 years over there and is a huge part of Aish. And he's here today to go over discovering your soul type. And we're very excited because we just love the neshama, right, Alie?
Yeah, soul vibes.
Hey, neshama.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Yitz Jacobs. Let's get into it.
How should we begin?
I heard you give us talk in Israel, and it's such a special talk. And maybe just starting with outlining the different types of souls, and then we can delve into them individually.
Well, let's talk about what we're all looking for in life. Because I think when we ask people, and I talk to people and I say, why are you here? A lot of times I'm getting this, I'm looking for myself. I'm trying to find myself. And, the question is always, you've GPS nowadays, like where do you think you are, right? So what they're talking about is not their physical self, okay? Because you just look in the mirror, you can see where your physical self is. So what self are they actually referring to was a question of mine. And the answer was they're looking for a part of themselves that's deeper, okay? That's part of their essence. So this class is to help people reveal which part of you is your essence. Okay, now we all have lots of different richness to our essence, but you can boil down a person's essence to gravitating toward one of three types of energies. Again, we have all three, but just like you have a right hand and a left hand, right? You've got two hands, but one of them you seem to use much more often than the other. So it's the same thing with energies. You have all the energies, but some of them are your go-to. Some of them are the ones you're most familiar with, and whether it's a combination of nature or nurture, there are certain energies that at this point in life seem to be the ones that you identify with the most. So that doesn't mean you don't have the other ones, but it does mean that we can, as a starting point, start to explore who you are and how you experience yourself using those three energies and identifying the one that's primary in you. Okay, so guess how many primary energies there are?
4?
Close.
5?
Come on, Alie.
I don't remember.
Oh.
There's a lot of different types of souls. Is it 3?
It's 3. And I'll tell you the way to know that and never forget it. How many primary colors are there in the world?
3.
3. There's 3 primary colors. Now, how many colors are there in general?
The colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple.
Yeah, you got 7. Is that all the colors there are?
That's 6.
There's a lot of colors, a lot of combinations.
Correct. So there are an infinite number of colors because there's an infinite amount of combinations from these 3 primary colors. So even though there's 3 primary colors, doesn't mean that every color looks the same. Similarly, we all are composed of 3 primary spiritual energies, but that does not mean that we're all the same. There's an infinite variety that comes from the blending and the merging of different colors in unique proportions, which create each of our uniqueness. Okay, so we have 3, all of us, but we're all incredibly unique. Okay. So what are those 3 energies? So to help us hone in, I first ask, let's talk for a second about physical needs. Okay, what is a person's primary physical needs? What are they?
Food.
Food. Excellent.
Sleep.
Sleep.
Love.
What?
Love.
So is love a physical need?
I mean, I think.
Maybe touch,
Okay, touch.
right? Which communicates love. Okay, you need shelter. You need, right, safety from predators, right? You need like our physical needs, food and sleep and shelter. These are pretty basic, and I think if you ask most 3-year-olds, they would be able to answer this question, right? This is not a complicated question.
Is it a problem that I got it wrong?
But no, I mean, you probably, because you are deeper and already went to the next question.
Yeah, I went to the next level with it. That's a
You did.
second basic necessity.
Okay, so then that's the other question is, what are the basic spiritual needs of a human being?
Ah,
Okay.
Gabby?
What?
Gabby, I think you know.
love.
Hey, you're right. One of them is love. Okay, it's love, it's connectivity. And these are real needs. This isn't like a luxury. They're real emotional, spiritual needs. In fact, they had these studies of institutionalized babies in Russia during World War II. There was tremendous amount of death of the Russian soldiers, tremendous amount of orphans. And they created orphanages, and they were so busy that the nurses did not have time to really give the nurturing and touch, okay, and the love. And the babies would die. Even though they were given every physical input, without love, these babies didn't thrive. Okay, so this is not just a luxury. This is a core need of every human being. And we all know people that are walking around feeling deep down that they're unworthy of love, that they're not lovable, that there's a problem with them giving and receiving love and being in a loving relationship. And those people, you feel that there's something closed and dead almost about them, okay? Because this creates life. So, first spiritual need is love, connection. It's a real need. Okay, what else? What's another spiritual need?
Is it connection to Hashem?
I was
Okay,
going to say
so-
that.
Oh,
I'm going to not be as religious yet.
okay.
Wait. You're getting more religious on me.
How unrabbinical of you. I'm just kidding.
You're always jumping to like the next. You're going to like way advanced.
We're on the advanced course here, Rabbi.
Is it the search for meaning?
Okay. So meaning is another one. Meaning is a basic human need. Where do we see this? Okay, so a famous example is a man named Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor. He was through Auschwitz, and he was a psychologist. And what he did was he put on his psychologist hat in Auschwitz. That's how he coped with these crazy, unbelievably horrific conditions. And what he observed was that people that had meaning, something meaningful, those people ended up surviving at a much higher frequency than people that did not feel like there was a sense of meaning in their lives. Okay? Meaning and purpose. Who do you think were the most attached meaningfully wise and purpose wise, who had the highest degree?
Maybe like educators, doctors, people who.
Interesting, but no.
No?
People who are connected to Torah.
Interesting, but no.
People who had a family in the Holocaust.
Okay, so mothers is the answer.
Oh, and that makes sense because women are supposed to be more connected, right, than men.
And if a woman who's a mother thinks there's any chance she's going to see her child again, she will cling tenaciously to life. Okay? Because that is so unbelievably meaningful. So he found that mothers, actually across the spectrum, that mothers were the ones that woke up every day with this meaning to get them through and cling tenaciously to life. Okay, it's an amazing thing. And there was a story that he recounted, which was so interesting, is there was a guy that had a dream. And in his dream, he said that on this certain day, he was going to be liberated. So as this day got closer and closer, he got more and more excited and animated and more resilient. So what happened when that day came and that day went and he wasn't liberated?
Did he lose faith?
He actually died.
Whoa.
His meaning, his reason for living was taken away, his hope, and he wasted away and he died. Now, we all need a sense of meaning and purpose to get through life, not just to get through the Holocaust, but to get up in the morning. to start your day, to feel like your day is meaningful and worthwhile and there's a purpose to it, to give you energy to propel your existence, not just in terrible situations, but everyday life.
We can apply this to 2020.
It was really hard because people's whole source of purpose was just destroyed. They had to figure out how to create a new sense of purpose in this new, very unusual climate. So yeah, we see it's a matter of life and death. It's a matter of life and death, purpose and meaning. It's not like this luxury, but it's, people that don't have a certain sense of meaning and purpose, meaning about themselves and purpose in life, people like that, they're just like floundering. Okay, it's also like a kind of death. It's like a confusion in it, right? Okay, so what's the third? The third basic spiritual need.
Gabby?
What?
So wait, let's review the first two. So I don't
First one is love.
love and
Second one is meaning.
meaning. The third spiritual one.
Significance.
Hashem.
But isn't that the same thing as meaning in a way?
Yeah, no, significance and meaning is the same.
Right. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's that. But we haven't said the third yet, right?
Correct.
Hashem.
We're getting there.
Still not there.
Hashem is the source of all these needs.
How about like giving?
I'm going to call that part of love.
Okay. Learning.
I'm going to call that part of wisdom.
Oh wow.
And meaning. Wisdom and meaning.
This is hard. I'm not sure.
So the last one is self-esteem, self-worth. Okay, feeling like you're inherently good and worthy, the opposite of shame. Okay, there are people all over that feel deep down that they're not good. They're bad. They're not worthy. There's something wrong with them inherently. Like there's something toxic or poisonous or dark or black or right. And that's a type of death. Again, that's a type of death. If you go to any like self-help bookstore, you will see that there is millions of books on how to feel that you are okay and that you're worthy and that you're good, that you belong, right? That you deserve, like, right? This is a horrible thing, and we're all struggling to figure out how to gain this.
But is it safe to say that most of us struggle with these things and you're never like 100% secure in there? You're always a work in progress?
Well, that's what this world is about, is connect to your soul. And these three things are properties of your soul, okay? To feel that you are inherently significant and worthwhile and that inherently good, okay? A piece of the divine. To feel that. Yeah.
All right. So the soul is a being though, right? The soul is an energy. So how does the soul have a sense of self-esteem?
The soul is not a being. The soul is you. You are a soul. You are a collection of consciousness that exists on a continuum. Okay? Part of you exists on a low level of vibration, and then part of you exists in the middle, and part of you is on a high vibration, so you're on a very high level of vibration. Okay? And that totality, that spiritual awareness, the totality is your soul. And there are different levels of the soul. Okay? But your consciousness is really your soul.
Then what is your subconscious?
What?
If your consciousness is your soul, what is your subconscious?
Your subconscious is, oftentimes actually people have their souls buried in their subconscious. So your consciousness spans, and part of the work is to free the parts of you that are trapped in your subconscious that should be your primary sense of self. And sometimes it's to, rectify the different parts of yourself, because we exist, this is what the Jewish people talk about exile. that there's a part of ourselves that's in exile, and it's usually the spiritual part of ourselves that exists in a state of exile from our consciousness and our awareness. And part of the goal of Judaism is to rectify that and to restore the divine consciousness.
It's very powerful. Why? Why is it funny?
I just love it. It's great.
It is. You're so you're great with your words and you're great with connecting these concepts. And I don't know, you hear certain things that are similar, but not in the way you've brought it to the table. So thanks, Rabbi. Baruch Hashem.
So look, we all have these three properties, and they're properties of our soul. But again, some of us identify more strongly with others, and sometimes some of the properties are more latent, okay? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to look at the three soul types and help you identify which one is your primary type, okay? So in Hebrew, they're called Chaim, Bracha, and Tov. Okay, let's do the easy one first. Tov. Tov means?
Good.
Okay, so which one do you think that corresponds to?
Love.
Your sense of being
Self.
good. Right? Sense of being worthy and good, to be good, to do good, right? That's your Tov. Okay. What about bracha? So bracha, blessing.
Your
Has to
spiritual
do-
side.
Okay. Has to do with love and pleasure. When you make a blessing on something, you're about to receive pleasure. Okay. We all know food is love, right? Okay. We're not Italian, but we agree.
Allie's Italian.
Same thing. Food is love, and
Same thing, right? We're all the same.
Latino, everyone.
What?
I think cross-culturally, food equates to love.
Food is
Like,
love.
use food
When
to demonstrate.
we make a blessing, we are literally about to experience and highlight the pleasure. And in Judaism, we're highlighting the gift of pleasure from God. So it's about pleasure and connection at the same time. That's what a bracha is. The word borecha in Hebrew literally means an overflowing spring. And the idea is when you're filled with bracha is you're so full that you literally overflow and can fill others. That's bracha, right? So we've got tov is this do good, be good, are good, right? Bracha is this overflowing spring of connectivity. And then we have chaim, which means life. And in Judaism, life is about meaning, because that's what separates us from an animal, right? Is that we can create meaning in this world. We can understand the deeper meaning and deeper significance. That's what differentiates our lives from lower life forms. Okay, so that's the truest understanding, and connecting to the highest significance is God. Okay, and that's like the meaning of life itself. So we all have these three. So let's look first at who the bracha is. Okay, so when you see a bracha personality, which you guys will relate to this, especially you, Gabby, a bracha is a person in the soul where literally their soul, their eyes, is radiating this sunniness and this warmth and this light. Okay, they're called the beautiful people. You feel the light come shining off their face, and they create this experience of welcome. Okay, they envelop you in this graciousness, this connectivity, this warmth, this worthiness. Okay, it's an amazing, amazing thing. Bracha souls, if I didn't say word, are what I call the beautiful people.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, but it's a neshamatic beauty. It's a neshamatic beauty. It's this like warmth, and I'm not a bracha soul.
My soul is thanking you.
What?
My soul is thanking you.
And bracha souls want to fill other people with Hashem's love, with their love too. But the ultimate source of love is God. And if they can connect people to God's love, this is like their nirvana, right? That they can light that flame in people. and people now can carry around that warmth of God's love, right? That is the nirvana of a bracha soul. So they love acts of giving, of connectivity. They seek peace amongst people. They seek to break down barriers. And, I'll give a secular example in one of our forefathers. So my secular example is my imagination of who Mother Teresa was, because I never met her. But in my imagination, a soldier falls in battle, is wounded, and is literally absolutely terrified, in a state of panic. And this woman comes running out, and she spreads this cloak of protectivity and warmth and comfort and says, "You're going to be okay. I've got you. I've got you." Right? And then the person just is enveloped in this aura of safety and protection and kindness. Okay, so that's a bracha. That's what a bracha is and does. Okay, which one of our three forefathers was the bracha energy?
Abraham?
Abraham. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, what was he so absolutely renowned for?
Welcoming people.
Yeah, welcoming people. Okay.
Didn't he also bring Torah to everybody too?
Well, he was the initiation. He was very multifaceted. So he is the one who used his mind to fathom the depths of creation to come out with the understanding of one God. And that's true. Okay, that's his claim to fame too, monotheism. But as far as his primary, what's called midah, his primary character trait is always talked about as loving kindness. Okay, now he had a home which looks like a chuppah. Okay, so a chuppah is 4 poles and no walls. Now, does anyone here want to live in a chuppah?
No.
You want to live in a chuppah? No. You'll be there with a guy once, but that's it, right? So
just for your wedding, that's it.
That's it, you're done. So why don't we want to live in a chuppah? What do we want instead?
A closed house.
What? Yeah, we want walls and doors with locks. Because we want things that can protect us and keep us separate. Okay, imagine a person who didn't have no walls, no doors, no barriers whatsoever, because he wanted connection. And he didn't discriminate. Everyone was worthy of love and kindness and connectivity. It's an amazing thing. And he would look and watch peasants. Okay, back then in the day, people were extremely, extremely poor. People were slaves, peasants, right? Didn't matter who it was. Someone that was passing by, he would entreat them, beg them, please stop in my home. And he would give them delicacies that they had never even imagined, things that only kings had on kings' tables. And he would treat them like they were royalty themselves. Now, how does this person feel being a guest in Abraham's home with Abraham's hospitality? How do they feel?
Welcome.
They feel welcome. They feel amazing. They feel important. They feel special, right? Okay. He gave them so much love and attention and pleasure, food. Okay. And they would say to him, "Thank you." And he would say back to them,
"No problem." I'm just kidding.
He would say,
"Don't."
Correct. Exactly. He would say, "Me? Don't thank me. I'm not the source of so much pleasure and love and light. Don't thank me. This is all from Hashem." And he would therefore, using love and pleasure and connectivity, he would connect people back to the light of Hashem. Okay? And they would carry that around with them for the rest of their lives. Okay? That was his nirvana. It was an amazing, amazing thing. So that's Abraham. And you see people like that. Okay? Think about who you know in your own life that really has that disposition, that has that graciousness, that welcomeness, that light in their eyes, the warmth, right? That just wants to connect and just wants to elevate in that way. Okay? And each person is individually significant. Each and every person. Each person matters, right? So that's a bracha neshama. Any questions on those?
Nope.
That
Okay, I'm not going to go into the challenges. Okay, so let's look at the second one. The second one's called a Tov soul, a Tov neshama. Okay, what was the Tov all about?
Good.
Right. Doing good, being good, feeling like you are intrinsically good. Okay, a Tov is the idealist. They want to change the world and champion good. Okay, they are the visionaries, they are the reformers, the crusaders, not the crusaders that killed us, but you know, they are the reformers, the crusaders, the people that are trying to save this and reform the school systems, and right, the people that are trying to create a utopia in this world and bring the world up to a higher level of good. So unlike the bracha, who's very connected to each and every individual, tovs are often more collective. They're looking at how to raise a collective to a higher level of good on a systems level, right? And they have all these plans and they have all these ideas and visions, right? And they like rules and they like regulations, because rules and regulations help define what's good and going to bring about good, and then what's not. And they like living in the box. The box is security, because now I know that I'm good when I'm in the box, and I know that outside the box is the realm of not good. Okay, so a Tov soul has all these ideas about how they're going to change the world and create a higher degree of good, and they have plans. They're future oriented, they're strategic, right? And they're creating plans of how you're going to achieve and what's going to look like. And they define what's inside the good and what's not. Okay, very idealistic. My secular example, and forget about politics, I'm talking about essence. My secular example is Barack Obama. Okay, whether you think the way he went about it was misguided or not, his idea of creating a system where every single American has access to health care is a Tov vision. Okay, how do you pay for it? Okay, that's where the rules and regulations, what it looks like, right? That all comes in. But the vision, right? Communism was a Tov vision. Okay, every person should be equal. Everyone should be taken care of. Okay, did millions of people get murdered in the name of the good? Was the individual important, or was just the greater good important? Okay, so, but it was Tov. It was creating greater good for the greatest number of people.
So there's
Okay.
different ways to look at Tov is kind of what you're saying, right? So you could be a Tov person, but maybe the perspective is a little bit different on what the greater good is to you.
Right, exactly. The Tov can define what they believe is the greatest ideal, the greatest good, and how that's going to come about. Right? The bracha is looking at individuals, and sometimes they get caught up in little individual things and miss what's really important on the big picture. The Tovs are really focused on the big picture and sometimes miss the little guy that they're steamrolling over, right? In implementing the big picture. Okay, when a bracha gives tzedakah, they look at the person and they hold their hand and they stare at the eye and they say, "This is for you. You should be blessed." Okay, when a Tov gives tzedakah, they're like, "Here you go. Okay, I got a mitzvah. You know, like I did my good deed for the day." Like, you know, like it's a different orientation. Okay, but both very powerful. One is in the heart and one is in the realm of action. Okay, one wants to create. Okay, so my second example was Obama. Who was my forefather example?
is it Yaakov? No.
Jacob?
Before?
What? It's Isaac. Yitzhak.
Isaac.
That's the other.
Ah.
Okay, so what was his?
Just your two names. Great.
Yeah, there's right. So what was his fundamental test? His claim to fame, so to speak. So it's
Didn't he have
interesting.
to survive? Didn't his brothers like get rid of him?
That's Joseph.
Oh, oops.
Joseph.
It's
Good, we're learning. We're
Yeah.
learning. So his claim to fame was allowing himself to be a sacrifice. Okay, Abraham had been given a command to bring his son Isaac up on the altar. Now, our impression is that Isaac was this little child, innocent and naive, and Abraham was this strapping young man, right? So, what does the Torah record with their respective ages? How old was Isaac during this episode?
Wasn't it 137?
Okay, so that was
Or 27?
Abraham.
Oh.
Abraham was 137 years old. What did he look like?
A grandpa.
Strapping, vigorous young man?
No.
No. Okay. How old was Isaac? He was 37 years old.
37.
So what did Isaac look like?
A young strapping man.
Okay, so who could have overpowered the other should they have chosen to?
Isaac.
Correct. And it actually says something amazing. In the actual words of the Torah, Isaac asks his father, he says, "Father, I see that we have the fire for the pyre, I guess it's called in English, the fire for actually bringing the sacrifice up after it's slaughtered, and we have the knife. But where's the sacrifice itself?" And Abraham replies back to him, listen how unbelievable this is. He says, "God will seek out for us the lamb, my son." Okay, now you can hear that in one of two ways. God will seek it out for us, son, right? Or God will seek out the lamb, my son. Okay, now which way did Isaac hear it?
I think, well, did he realize what his father was about to do?
This is how we know he did. Because Isaac, the Torah continues right after this, and it says, and they continued to walk together, which means that from this point on, Isaac knew exactly what was happening.
Wow.
And he continued. In fact, it's called the binding of Isaac. And our tradition says that it was Isaac's request to be bound because he was afraid he might flinch and invalidate himself as a sacrifice. So he asked to be bound to the altar. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever given blood?
Yes.
Okay, so how are you feeling when you're giving blood?
Good.
Yeah?
I feel good.
Okay, so there's always those do-gooders that feel great. For me, I'm going, they're taking up pints of my blood, I'm like, Okay, that's how my nervous system is experiencing this. But what do? I sit there pumping that stupid little ball, right? Why do I continue pumping? What's motivating me?
Tough.
Because I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what's good and what's right. Okay, that's why we give blood. Even though most people don't enjoy the experience, there are exceptions. But for the rest of us, we give blood. We hold back our comfort. We hold back our needs, right? For the good. And that's what Isaac did. Isaac said, if this is what is the good, I will hold back my life itself, my life force for the greater good. Okay, it was an amazing level. And of course, God never intended him to be sacrificed, but they both passed their tests.
Well, actually, I think I just learned this Torah portion with Dahlia. And according to what we were told is that, when he actually passed away, he was in the Garden of Eden for 3 years. And it needed to happen because he had part of his mother's soul, Sarah, right? And so God gave him a masculine soul when he came back, which allowed him to have a family.
Okay, all that you're saying is true. The question is, what does it mean? Okay.
It means that it was intended to happen, in my opinion, because he knew there was a bigger plan, and the plan was to bring Isaac back.
There was a soul correction that happened from this incident. Now, did he really die? The soul correction could happen whether he died or not, clearly, right? But they're saying that there was a massive soul correction that happened, okay? And there's different ways of explaining that. Did he really die? Did his soul go up to the Garden of Eden to receive this correction? But he was still, right? It's a little bit obscure exactly what happened. Many people say he didn't die, but everyone says he had an amazing soul correction, okay? And the idea of the masculine versus the feminine, right, was not that he was female, but that what he needed to, okay, so I'll tell you it on a deep, deep level. This probably isn't going to be part of our class. Should I even bother saying this now for you guys?
Say it.
Or?
It's so interesting.
So basically, Isaac's midah is seen as feminine, where Abraham's is seen as masculine, which is kind of counter to how the rest of the world sees it. But Kabbalistically, Abraham was seen as pouring from within and creating a force, a fountain, right? And filling. But there is this assertion energy, right? Something generated from within is now being poured from without. Just like the sun, right? The sun is generating and it's pouring out, and that's considered male. Isaac was considered to be a restraining energy. Okay, Isaac was taking force and he was restraining it, restraining his life force, restraining his life and channeling it. Okay, and that's what's considered to be mighty. Interestingly enough, Isaac was assigned the attribute of might, where Abram was assigned the attribute of love and kindness. Now we can go deeper how they both have feminine and male, but on a simple level, Abraham was seen as having that male outpouring and the withholding and creating a space, right? Through that withholding for this other thing to happen, but like channeling and withholding your own life force was considered to be female. Okay, so Isaac, was he a female? No, but he had perfected this female energy called might. I just always think it's so crazy that the mighty energy is female in Judaism. Okay, it's like crazy. So, and the giving energy is male in Judaism. Okay, and again, there's an opposite side to it also. What?
Oh, I'm shocked too, because you would think it'd be the opposite.
There's an opposite side to it, okay, which is a whole nother. But Isaac had to, in order to be the giver in a relationship, had to also develop the other quality. Okay, and that was the soul correction that he had to go through. Does that make sense? Okay, because that's to be the male in a relationship. He was kind of the female in a sense to his father's will. And now he has to develop the quality of maleness and his own will and self-determination to be the man in a relationship. This completion of this one mission completed that first part, and now he was freed to develop that second part. And that's why now he could be in a marriage relationship. Okay? So different than man and woman, and he was female, right? But you get it, right?
Yeah.
Perfect sense. Okay, so we have the good, we have the blessing, the love, the connection, the kindness, people's souls that look like that. Think of who you know. That's that bracha soul that exists with that level of light and connectivity and graciousness. And who do you know that is that idealist, that reformer, that driven person that wants to create good on a societal level, on an institutional level, on an organizational level, right? They're always trying to like figure out how to bring the greatest good. Okay, idealists, reformists, crusaders, right? Always fighting for the underdog and always fight, right? Okay, so the third soul is the Chaim soul, which is all about meaning. And the Chaim soul is the intellectual soul. Okay. The bracha, the love, is the emotional soul. Okay, the Tov is the action-oriented doer soul, and the Chaim is the intellectual soul. Okay, which that means is these are the people that live in the world of ideas, and they understand the power of ideas, and they're building intellectual palaces in the sky, and every idea is like a brick that has to be perfectly polished and positioned in this construct that they're creating, but you can't see it. It's in the world of ideas. Now, these are the people that cultivate and refine and transmit ideas from generation to generation. They're the academics, the poets, the prophets, right? They're the people that live in this world and contain and learn and clarify and refine the collective wisdom of the world.
Like an Albert
Okay.
Einstein.
Okay, so that's my secular example.
No way. We're on the same page.
Albert Einstein, using his mind, was able to fathom the nature of reality on a depth that I can't imagine how he did it, okay? But he was able, using his mind, to delve into a place of reality, to uncover reality in a way that we can't really even fathom.
It's like today's Elon Musk.
Yeah. But Albert Einstein didn't use his theory. He didn't create the bomb. He wasn't interested in the practical applications. He was interested in reality and truth. Okay? He wasn't Tov oriented, or how am I going to use this? He wanted the pure truth and meaning and essence of it. What's true is what's meaningful. I want to describe reality in the truest way, and that's what's meaningful, is being in touch with the ultimate truth is the source of meaning. So Albert Einstein literally looked into the world and peeled away a layer and revealed to us a level of truth that we didn't even know existed. Okay, and that was his meaning, that was his passion. Okay, and it took years and painstaking, right? And the Chaim souls understand the power of ideas, how ideas shape society, they shape values, they shape how people live, how people think, they shape everything. Okay, and the power of ideas, they're excited to learn, they're always thinking and exploring. These are the people that, like, you know, if in Judaism, so the bracha gives tzedakah, it's going to be okay, right? The Tov is like, I did my mitzvah, you know. The Chaim is like, when I give tzedakah, I pull this lever, which opens up this flow of energy, which then, right? Like, they're like, that's the Chaim. They're like connecting this world to the next world. And they're like, right? The world of ideas, the world of physicality, right? They're the ones that are like, you know, creating this overlay of how to see and understand life on a deeper level. Okay, that's the Chaim souls, and they're passionate about it. It drives them. It's their life. It's their motivation. It's their pleasure, right? So my secular example is Albert Einstein, and the last forefather left is Yaakov. Okay, and where do we see that he was the epitome of this quality? So one of his famous episodes is the dream of the ladder. Okay, Jacob's ladder, we've all heard of. So Jacob was lying on the site of the temple, the future site of the temple. And he went to sleep there and he had a dream. And in his dream, he saw a ladder which had its feet planted on the ground, and the top of the ladder was underneath God's throne of glory itself. Now, what's striking is God's throne of glory a physical thing, or is it a totally spiritual thing?
Spiritual.
It's completely spiritual. There's no physicality to it whatsoever. So that means that this ladder went from the physical and somehow ended up in the purely spiritual. Okay, Einstein could only see on this level of the ladder. He could see very deeply into it, but he could not see the spiritual source of all of existence. How a burst of divine energy at God's throne of glory transmutated into the blade of grass that's being grown right now in your backyard. Okay, Jacob not only could see with Einstein's perceptivity, but he could trace it back to its spiritual source. Okay, the most amazing, profound level of truth and vision and connection to reality that a human has ever experienced besides Moshe Rabbeinu. So that's the third type of energy. And I want to ask you guys, who do you know? First of all, what do you think you are? What energy do you resonate with the most? Are you, that crusader that wants to fix and change the world? Are you that person that just has this love and connectivity and graciousness for others? Or are you the academic soul that wants to understand and learn and deliver meaning and deliver truth and create the most real picture, the most authentic picture of reality imaginable? Okay, which one do you resonate with the most is the first question. And then look at the people in your life. Who are your parents? Who's mom? Who's dad? What souls do they have? Okay, that's the environment you were raised in. And then look at the people you're drawn to. People that you're drawn to in your dating life. Okay, in your experience, what soul type were you drawn to? What soul type made you feel that you were in the right relationship with the right energy?
These are such amazing and profound questions. I love this.
I'd love it if you guys would share.
I mean, I'm a bracha for sure.
Bracha soul.
Yeah.
But you got so much tov in you too. You do. You got a lot of tov.
So I'm a hybrid.
You're a
because
hybrid. We're all
Alie,
hybrids.
I feel like Alie, you do like to lift people up as a collective too. So that's where I see you as a tov also.
And also
but
the
also
energy
bracha.
and the drive and the direction and the pushing and that's all tov. That pushing and that drive and the energy, the direction, that's all tov. I'm a tov soul. Yeah.
I feel like I have, I also resonate with bracha, but tov, I'm super structured and organized, and you know that about me, Alie. So I feel like I have bits and pieces of tov in there, but on a level of connecting with individuals, I totally identify with bracha.
Well, let me just tell you that without knowing the body component, we're not quite clear with where different energies are coming from. Okay, so what you could be describing is a body element, which is a relationship to the soul, but there's a twist, which is what we're going to talk about next time.
That's so interesting.
Dun, dun, dun. That's the
cliffhanger. Well, guys, if you loved this episode and everything, please comment. And Rabbi Jacobs is doing a really amazing meditation course with 7 different meditations that you can sign up for. Rabbi, where can people find that to sign up for your class?
Actually, right now, it's still invite only.
Exclusive.
It is a focus group. If anyone is really interested in being part of a focus group like this, then you can email me directly at yjacobs@aishla.com. After we finish, this is our second round of focus group, and then it's going to be opened to anyone that wants to participate.
So I'm sure if anyone's interested, they can probably just email you as well. So when you're ready to release it, they can sign up for that there.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you again for taking the time to talk to us about discovering the different soul types. I think we learned a lot today. So much new information, and it's definitely really profound. So we hope you guys tune in for part 2. Until then, breaking bread with Alie and Gabby. We'll see you guys later. Love your 2 favorite Jewish girls.
And say it,
Rabbi J.
Rabbi J.
Our favorite.
I forgot to do that. Rabbi J.
Yeah.
That's right.